Lots of garden chores today, but the first thing I'm going to do is cut down these asparagus ferns at ground level. It's pretty windy out here, so I might not keep the camera on it, but they need to be trimmed down. Chickens aren't happy about that because they like to hang out in those. They feel kind of safe, but it's got to happen. So here we go. So the chickens actually did a fairly decent job of knocking down a bunch of these asparagus ferns, but I got the rest of them, and while I would feel comfortable leaving them in here, they just take such a long time to break down. They're going to go into the compost pile. We don't have to worry about asparagus beetles or anything at this point. I never have had any pests in my asparagus yet. So I feel pretty comfortable putting it in the compost pile. And my next job will be to go and get some straw for another layer of mulch. There's a thin layer right now, but not enough. So I'm going to go do that. Hi, Ree. So I just put some more mulch in, but until I lock these chickens out, this is the way it's going to be. They will come in here and scatter it and dig around in it and try to see if they can find anything, even though this is old straw and manure and stuff that came out of their coop a while back. They don't care. They think it's their job to come and check out what's going on. Yeah, so that's this job done for the day, and now I get to move on to other things. Now I'm over here in my other garden where I have my compost pile this year, and what I need to do is take this fence down and get in there and kind of mash that stuff down a little bit, break it up and get it to be a little bit more level so that I can add another layer of green material. So that's all mashed down now and ready for the next layer. It's all of the garden waste I had from last year, all the I just put the asparagus ferns in here, but it also had all kinds of other things that ended up over here from every space, every garden that I have after the season was over. So it doesn't look like much now, but it was quite a bit at one time. And now this pile of punky wood that I took from an old log that we had that got stuck in our fence, it's really falling apart now. I'm going to break this down as much as I can and put it in my pathways in this garden. So now with that done, any of the wood that was too hard to easily break up or was just not broken down enough on its own at this point, I will go and put it over by my compost pile on the outside of it and just let all those surfaces that are already starting to break down have contact with the soil. It's a good way to cover soil that I'm not using right now. I'm not going to be actively planting anything over there this year. So it can just continue to break down, feed the soil, do its thing over there, and it works all the way around. So here is an old trough that got a hole in it a few years ago. And I decided at some point to turn it into a raised bed. And this is what you would call a failure to launch. I have tried a couple of times to plant different things in it, but never really gave it the attention it deserved. And so now it's just got a bunch of weeds in it. It has an old pea plant in it from last year. A cow pea seed got in there somehow and did its thing. But this is going to be the year that I do something good with this. So time to clean it up. So here we go, all cleaned up. And I think what's going to happen here is a nice little butterfly and hummingbird wildflower mix. That should be perfect because we have tons of hummingbirds around here, and I would like to attract some pollinators whenever possible to my garden. So yeah, that's what's going to happen here. And now for my last task of the day, at least in this area, This whole back corner on the outside of my winter garden has just been a depository for dead weeds and pruned branches and rocks I've thrown out, fencing is sitting around and stuff like that. So I'm going to clean this up. So that's all done. And I see I have a little chicken inspector back here deciding whether she approves or not. But now that this is cleaned up, we get to decide what to do with it. That's always the fun part.